Hello walkers, we're back, Funchal, Madeira, and we're here to answer your top 10 questions. So, first question, is Madeira expensive? Well, it's about the same as a lot of other European cities. In terms of hotels, if you're staying in Funchal, you're not really going to get anything under 85, 90 euros a night, really. And the prices are sort of exacerbated by this. There's no real low season here. Okay, so, but still, that's for a double room, and that's not too bad. If you come out to one of these touristy places here, you know, you're probably going to end up paying 25, 30 euros each for a meal. And that's not bad, is it really? If you want to go around the back streets, it'll be canny. You can get a plate of the day, and that could be anywhere between, say, 7 and 10. So it doesn't have to be expensive. So what's the typical Madeiran food? Well, you've got espada, which is the black scabbard fish. If you see it in the fish markets, it looks incredibly ugly. It's like a big long eel, but it tastes really nice. That's often served with either banana or passion fruit. Why those two fruits? Well, because they grow here in abundance, so it's a good reason. You might get espada, which is basically beef on a big skewer, and it dangles over your table. I don't eat meat, but people say it's lovely. Bolo de caco, see it a lot. Don't make the mistake I did when I thought it said bolo de caco, as in chocolate. So I ordered one, bit into it. I was mildly surprised to find it was garlic bread. So once you know it's garlic bread, it's lovely, and you'll see it everywhere. Got limpets or lapas. They're an acquired taste, shall I say. I'm not particularly into seafood of that description, but Avon is. It's served in the shells, bubbling away in garlic butter. Probably get it for like, I don't know, about 10, 12 euros. And of course you've got to try the honey cake, bolo de mel. Mel meaning honey, but it's not honey as in bees, it's cane sugar honey. It's a sort of a fruity sponge. It tastes, I'll tell you what, it tastes like Christmas pudding. Okay, from the UK, Christmas pudding or Christmas cake, but without the icing. See ya. Do you tip in Madeira? It's not obligatory, like a lot of places, but it's nice if you do. And you know, up to 10%. It's normal. Yeah, so I tip. Well, I tip for good service. And generally, you get good service here, so yes. Is Madeira worth visiting? You know, this is a tricky one, isn't it, really? Let me think about it. Well, it's called the Pearl of the Atlantic. It's got constant warm climate, subtropical. It's got a spectacular coastline, got quaint towns and villages, lovely Portuguese culture. Now just stay home and it'll be fine, and then there'll be less crowds for me to walk through. Is Madeira a beach destination? I'd say not. Well, there are a couple of beaches here. So we've got stony beaches here and some black sand. The tides on them can be quite strong, just like Praia Formosa. There are a couple of beaches here that's imported in from the Sahara, from Morocco. So you've got Calheta, so you could base yourself there, or Mexico, which is the old capital city. That's got a sandy beach. But to be honest, if you're thinking Canaries or something like that for the winter, no, it's not the place for you. It is lovely, it's got a lot of things going for it, but if you're a beach kind of person, that's what you're looking for. Or you could, of course, actually, which is where we're going in a couple of days' time, you could go to Porto Santo, which is an island just off the coast here. And that has probably one of the most spectacular beaches, long sandy beaches in Europe. Okay, so you could do that. What's the typical weather? Nice. Generally, there's 4 seasons here. So your winter is December, February. Spring is March to May. Summer is June to August, and autumn September to November. So probably winter time you're looking 16 to 17 degrees centigrade. What's that in old money? Something like 62. Summer easily gets up to 27. It's probably 28 today, in fact, and this is September, so it's quite nice, isn't it? Really. Winter goes down to 17 or 18. That's why it's a popular place in winter time. You do get a little bit of rain here. If you came in February, I'd probably say that's the rainiest period. If you come in June, surprisingly, even though that's sort of summerish, there's a little thing called the mushroom effect over the island, and we do tend to get a little bit of rain then, perhaps not too much. Is the airport dangerous? Oh, good. I'm glad you're asking that, because yes, it's quite, well, it's not dangerous. I mean, it's known for a pretty wild landing. So, I read somewhere that it's the 9th most dangerous landing in the world and the 3rd in Europe. Well, all it simply means, to be honest, is that the pilots have to have extra training if they're going to come and land here. So, never had an issue. Do get sometimes a little bumpy ride, and it's because of the wind that whips across the mountains. It's because of the mountains over which the wind whips across, and it's a very short runway. So it's quite fun. It's a fun landing, I'd say. It's quite exciting. Generally, the most that'll ever happen is that it's a little bit too windy to land, so you might be taken off to Porto Santo for a while, or maybe for Ryanair, you might get taken all the way back home. Next question: where to stay in Madeira? It depends what you're doing, really. Generally, we've always stayed around the Funchal area, and that's just generally because we like the vibe, we like being around people, we like coffee, and also it's a great place that you can just jump on a bus and get most places, really. So you'll find most of the population live here. It's not a big population on the island, but most people will live here. If you want to be by a beach, then Calheta, as I mentioned before, Mexico, good places to stay. Of course, if you've got a car, pretty much stay anywhere. I mean, it's not a massive island. You can get around pretty quickly. So yeah, that's what I'd say. Funchal, and you've got the main part of the town, the main centre. We've got the Lido area, which is where a lot of hotels are, but don't let that put you off. It's actually pretty. It's quite green. That's a very pleasant place. So, do you need a visa? Well, do you need a visa? Well, do you need a visa to go to Europe? If you do, then there we are. You need a visa. If you're from Britain, you can get here obviously on the usual Schengen visa. That gives you 90 days in any 180 days, isn't it, in the Schengen area, of which Madeira is part. So after that, you have to sling your hook and you can't return for at least another 90 days. But of course, you know, you could come here for a month and no problem. Do I need a car in Madeira? Well, you know what? We managed for years and years and years and years and years without a car. So you don't need one. Depends on what you want to do. For us, we love the town here, and you know, it's fairly easy to get around by buses, different parts of the islands. Quite a few of the lavadas that we were interested in, we could get there by public transport. As we come here a bit more often, car is a bit more useful, certainly. And I think if you're going hiking, then a car is just the way to go. It's just going to make your life much easier. So yeah, I would, if you're doing a lot of hiking, a car is going to help you get around, or especially also if you don't have a lot of time. If you're time limited, get a car, but beware, book well in advance. They get expensive here simply because again, I told you there's no low season, right? So you know, it's always popular here, okay? And also, if you haven't seen it already, driving around here, look at all the videos. Like Madeira is one big mountain, isn't it? Really, it's one big slope. So you're either going up or going down. So do make sure that you're comfortable driving up and down hill. And when I mean hill, I don't just mean a gentle incline. Yeah, so if you're comfortable with that, a car is the way to go. So what are the hikes like? Are they easy? They're as easy as hard as you want to, because there's so many on the island. So if you want a nice flat walk, yeah, there's hikes for that, and you can get to them fairly easily. If you want vertiginous, if you want to clamber up Pico Ruivo or Arero, which is, most people want to do that because obviously it's the peaks, yeah, they're a bit more strenuous. Well, one thing to be mindful of, those, some of these walks are incredibly vertiginous. A lot of the time you'll be walking along a lavada, which is a sort of concrete or stone water channel, and to the left or right will be a sheer drop. A lot of the time you don't see it because it's covered in trees and vegetation, so it's all very pleasant, quite relaxing, but sometimes it's not. So get a guidebook before you come out. Popular ones, we started off with the sunflower ones and they were pretty good. Rolf Goats, it's a little red book, it's got about 70 walks in there or so. Belix has got one. I think we also just rely on the All Trails app. So we normally just use the free version, and as long as you've got a data connection, you're fine. You can use all the maps, etc. So anyway, here we are, we've come to the end of our walk. If you find yourself in Madeira, do say hello if you see us wandering around. Feel free to ask us any questions. You know, we like to help people out. You know, we've got a lot of knowledge of the area, and in fact we've got a little pocket guide to Funchal which we've put together with lots of love and care. So if you want to make the most of your time, well, you might find it useful. We'll leave a link on the screen in front of you. Until next time, hope you've enjoyed it. Take care.